Mr Deputy President. I move to take note of answers provided by the Minister representing the Minister for Education in relation to my questions relating to the National Schools Chaplaincy and Student Welfare Program. The Minister failed to answer the questions that I put. I asked the Minister why the government was choosing not to recover $37 million paid out in advance for services for up to the end of the year that have not yet been delivered under this National Schools Chaplaincy and Student Welfare Program. That's a program that is now defunct. The Schools Chaplains Program has always been contentious, ever since it was originated by the Howard Government as a way to effectively get more Christianity into public schools. It was a way of foisting ideology, a particular religious worldview on public schools then, and that is what the government is seeking to do again. This is particularly obvious when the answers to questions as to why the federal government was not intending to fund secular welfare workers, some of whom had been doing wonderful work in schools, the answer has been, well, this isn't a welfare program. That begs the question, well then, what is it? On the 19th of June 2014, the High Court ruled that the funding under the National Schools Chaplaincy and Student Welfare Program is invalid. It was the second time the High Court had found the program invalid in 2 years. In this second High Court case of Williams and the Commonwealth No. 2, the Court found that the power relied upon by the federal government in their argument, the power under the Constitution in section 51, which allows the federal government to make laws to provide benefits to students, was not adequate to support the continued existence, or in fact the existence at all, of this particular program. The Court found that the benefits provided to students were not direct enough, and as a result of that decision, the program was found to be unconstitutional, and as a result it was found to be defunct. At this point, I'd just like to acknowledge that Mr Ron Williams, who brought both Williams 1 and Williams 2, has been a persistent and tireless campaigner against the use of federal government funds and taxpayer funds to sponsor a religious program like this in public schools in Australia. He has again successfully highlighted the flaws in the means the federal government has been prepared to use to subvert a proud history of secular education in Australia. The decision was that federal funding for the chaplaincy program is illegal and all payments that have been made to date are illegal. This year, $74 million, of which $37 million has already been expended on the program, but there remain a further $37 million remaining to the end of the year for services that have not yet been rendered. The federal government has made a decision to waive what is effectively a debt that would be payable back into consolidated revenue. And I questioned the minister representing the Minister for Education today as to what was the rationale, why has the government decided to do that. There was no answer forthcoming. There was absolutely no answer as to why that would occur. But as a result, $37 million paid for the final 6 months of this year for services not yet provided have been paid to chaplaincy providers as a gift, essentially, of taxpayers' funding for a program that is no longer in existence and which is considered to be invalid. This begs the question, why is the government preparing to do this at a time when they are constantly telling everybody else that the age of enlightenment, the age of entitlement, not the age of enlightenment, but perhaps that too, is at an end? When we are seeing cruel cuts in the federal budget to other people who are in a state of New Start payments, we are going to see pensions decreasing over time, and we see single parents being affected. The government has effectively decided to gift $37 million for the rest of this year to chaplaincy services. The other question which the minister failed to answer is, given that the Federal Education Department website acknowledges that the federal government can no longer fund or indeed administer this program, which means that all the guidelines, the codes of conduct and the administration which oversaw the safety of the program has now come to an end, the federal government has not been able to say via the minister's response how the welfare and safety of students can be guaranteed or will be indeed managed by the federal government for till the end of the year. They've tried to put the responsibility on states, but that is not sufficient, that is not adequate. It is a federal government responsibility if they are facilitating the continued operation of this illegal program. We remain to see how the safety and welfare of students will be guaranteed.